Hey, what's going on, guys? 0 Hour, episode 114. Glad to have y'all with us here. I'm Tim Loy, of course, joined by Justin Watson, Torres Finney Jr., as it were, also in the house. We should be having Greg Hopkins joining us at some point in the game here. Shout out to our man Jeff Hobbs, under the weather today. Hopefully, things check out okay for him, and he'll be back next week. But we will man the ship in his absence. Justin, how's it going, my man? We're almost here to the end of the year. This is our last UFC card of the year, and then I guess it's a little bit of downtime for the next couple weeks.
Yeah, man, I'm doing good. Looking to blow you guys out of the water this week with our UFC picks and start the new year fresh.
Torres, my man, getting ready for the holidays. Then that big pro debut coming up February 19th in your hometown of Macon. I'm hoping we should be able to. I hear contracts have gone out, so I'm hoping we should be able to make an announcement on your opponent in the next. Maybe by this time next week, we should be able to maybe make that official. How are you doing, my man?
I'm doing good, man. Just been training. I feel good. Man, a lot of things been going really good. Getting ready for my first pro debut, man, and training been going excellent, man. And it's no different than what I've been doing already, man. I've been training like a pro before I made the announcement. So just staying on the same ship. But mainly, everybody can't wait for tomorrow. Spider-Man comes out. So that's that's
Oh,
that's my main focus right now.
we got to get. We'll
That's what
have to
I'm
get
waiting on.
Torres's review on Spider-Man next week. See if it's
Yes, you will.
worth the price of admission. Let's see, guys. Of course, we'll get some of the housekeeping out of the way. If you would, out there in internet land, give us a follow at on our Facebook page at Aries Fight, Instagram at Aries Fight Series, as well as give us a like on our channel here. We're growing by the week. We want to keep that thing rolling here. You can catch all the fights from Aries 1 and 2 on the channel here and all the upcoming fights as well. So give us a like, subscribe so you get notifications whenever we post new content, and that would do us a big solid if you guys could help us out with that. Also, shout out to our friends at Aries. I'm sorry, at Action 24/7. They are the only Tennessee locally owned and operated sports book. And if you use the promo code Aries on your first deposit, they're going to match that up to $800. You put in 800, they'll match you for 800. Or if you want to put in like 50, they'll match you for 50. And you can get in on the action on this weekend's UFC fights, as well as the action on the Aries fights, which will be the lines will be hung on Action 24/7 for the pro fights as well. Today's show, guys, we're segment one. We're going to recap this past week's UFC 269. Crazy card. None of us really did very well except for Jeff. That's why we know that Jeff is sick, because he would certainly be here to gloat about it. He was the only one of us to come out on the good side this week. After that, we'll take a look ahead at this week's UFC 40 Vegas 45, which is the final UFC event of the year, and we will get our picks, our final picks of the year on that. Then we're going to reset. I'll go over our new format, which will start at the first of the year, and then our final segment. Segment three. We're going to look, as promised, at the Aries 3 amateur card. Early takes. We're not going to do picks or anything. Just early takes on that amateur card. Kind of an announcement of all the fights if you haven't been keeping up on the Facebook, so you can go over all the fights with us tonight. And then we'll wrap things up with the talk with Adam Silvey from the Wolves Den. He's going to be fighting on January 7th, so we'll have a conversation with him at the end of the show. Let's jump into it, gentlemen. Segment one, UFC 269. We'll go over our locks and how we did, and then just kind of touch on our thoughts on this one. For Jeff, Jeff's the only one to come out ahead this week. Jeff come in last place. He was 1-6 coming in, down 3.4 units, and he took a parlay with Ryan Hall with the over on the Pedro Munoz and Dominic Cruz fight, over 2.5. That was a winner on both sides. He wins 1.14 units, brings his record to 2-6, down 2.6 units. Justin falls to the seller with a Santiago Ponzinibbio bet, minus 130. Ponzinibbio didn't get it done against Jeff Neal. Justin, your thoughts on this one? We kind of thought going in, there's a lot of hectic issues going on in the life of Jeff Neal, so we thought maybe that would give us a little edge there, but nah, he looked pretty good.
Yeah, Jeff Neal, he looked good. It was a split decision, so I was holding my breath there at the end, hoping I would still get it, but I felt confident that Jeff Neal had done enough to get the win. Yeah, man, he's a tough dude, man. Ponzinibbio is stout, and I thought, especially with Jeff Neal going through these issues, that Ponzinibbio is going to cause problems, and Jeff Neal was able to nullify him pretty well and look good. So, yeah, that sucked.
With a loss, Justin is now 3-5. He's down 3.27 units going into our final leg of this season. Greg still hasn't joined us, so I'll go over what he had. Greg came in 4-3, up 0.62 units. He had a parlay with Sean O'Malley, tied to Ivasa and Augustus Sakai to end inside the distance. Those two were winners. He also had the main event to end inside the distance. Those three were winners, but Amanda Nunes sunk his boat, and he ended up losing, and now is 4-4, and is actually now down 0.38 units. And joins the negative bunch. Torres 2-3 coming into this one. You had a parlay with Sean O'Malley, got the win there, but then Amanda Nunes also sunk you. But at the same time, you had Dustin Poirier. He didn't get it done either. You're 2-4 now, down 2.04 units. Overall take on these three fights you had, man. O'Malley, he looked like $1 million out there.
Yeah, O'Malley looked good, man. O'Malley looked like what I expected to see, especially going against the opponent he was going against. I knew O'Malley would at least get the finish, if not the first or the second round. But I'm shocked, just like everybody else in the world was shocked. Nobody saw Amanda Nunes losing. We were all banking on getting ready to see the money fight between her and Kayla Harrison. But I did say, I was telling a lot of the guys who was all over the house watching that Juliana Pena is one of the only ones to call out Amanda Nunes. She was confident. All the other girls that really fight Nunes, they be looking scared. They be like, whatever happened. They don't sound confident. Juliana sounded really confident. And, I remember her face-off. She didn't blink at all. And everybody was, she's ready. And after that first round, man, when Juliana was still there, I didn't think many people would be able to fight in the pocket with Amanda Nunes. But boy, she slid in the pocket. You saw Juliana's face. She took the damage, but she said, I ain't going nowhere. It was like a Rocky movie, like jab. And I was like, oh, man. But, man, when she got that finish, man, with that rear naked choke, boy, that was exciting to watch. That was one of those, big-time UFC moments. And then seeing Charles Oliveira do his thing, man, like I was saying, put on my story today, he's giving me those Habib vibes. Man, he's gonna just walk you down, and once he gets you to the ground, you in his world.
No doubt.
Man. So I thought Poirier was gonna get it, man. I was hoping for the good story. But man, Charles Oliveira is that dude, man. He is that man, and man, I can't wait to see him fight Gaethje. But man, if Gaethje ground game is still what we saw against Habib, imagine what Oliveira would do.
No doubt.
So.
Myself, I came in, not to toot my own horn, in the lead, plus 1.63 units. I initially had a parlay with Amanda Nunes with Alex Perez. Alex Perez's fight falls off last minute, so I ended up stuck with just Amanda Nunes with a very minimal opportunity to earn 0.11 units. Of course, I lost as well, so I'm now 6-2, up 0.63 units going into this last one. My take on the Nunes fight is this. She owned her in the first round, man. She was taking her to town in the first round. I think that she overlooked her at the end of the day. I think that she probably thought that she had another layup here. She gassed in the second round, and then she more or less quit. That's my take on it. I think that if we see a rematch, I'm still going to take Amanda Nunes because I don't think that that's going to happen 2 times in a row. We're going to get a much better number on it next time than 10-1. And one thing that just irks me, just to get this off my chest, you see these people out in Facebook land, they're like, I knew it. I knew that Juliana Pena was going to beat Amanda Nunes. No, you fucking didn't.
No, you didn't.
If you did know it, and then there's like, I made all this money. If you did, you'd be posting those bet slips and showing all this money you made on Juliana Pena. Nobody called that.
Nobody.
Props to her though. She took advantage of it. Yes, Justin.
I called it. I picked Juliana, and I picked Juliana by submission.
You weren't confident in it. You was not confident.
It was definitely a bullshit play that I was throwing out there for $1, and and was jumping up and down when I won it.
Yeah, somebody showed me a ticket where they laid down a Benjamin
Right. Yeah.
on Pena and really committed, to really thinking Juliana Pena's going to win this fight, and I'll give you props for it.
Yeah,
Let's
I
move
didn't
on to
think
this week,
I
guys.
didn't think there was any chance.
No, me either, really. And you know what? Talking, they had the camera in her corner in between the first and second rounds, and she didn't seem very confident at that point. She said something along the lines of, "She's stopping me." She keeps
She keeps going for the guillotine. They were trying to get her to hit a sweep, and every time she would go for it, Nunes was grabbing the guillotine.
right.
So she kept saying, "Oh, she's
Wow.
grabbing the guillotine."
I felt like if Nunes had really turned it on that round, then Pena may have gone away. That isn't how it shook out, though. Ultimately, props to her for staying in there and getting it done. Moving on to this week's card, it is the final UFC offering of 2021, UFC Vegas 45. Before we get into this, we'll explain how starting in the first card in January, we're going to have a new system here. So we're going to our panels will be whoever picks has the most units at the end of the month. Each month will win $50 cash prize, and that's being sponsored out. We'll get the details on that sponsor to you guys here in the coming weeks, so we give some shout outs here. But $50 will go to the person that has the most units at the end of each month, and it'll reset each month, 1 unit wager each time. Once again, however, we're going to limit this to 2-leg max parlays. You can't parlay more than 2 legs on a parlay, so we can't just get as crazy as we're going to get today. Here's the caveat. This is per Jeff Hobbs, Commissioner Jeff Hobbs. Since we are in the fight game, there a penalty for missing a pick show. If you're not on here to give your picks, you can still send in your picks, and I'll put them out there to the world. But if you're not on here and you win, you have a 20% penalty, just like you would have if you missed weight. You missed the show, you got a 20% penalty, and everybody that was on the show will split that 20%. Only in the case of a win. If you lose, then you lose. Let's get into it, though. That'll start in January. We'll have some fun with that. One last show for fun here. We'll see how we end up coming out with our picks. The guys are getting a little crazy on this one. I'll give you Jeff Hobbs play first. This is for this weekend, Saturday, UFC Vegas 45. Interesting card, actually. It's not. I kind of thought we would kind of get a dumpy card to end the year, but it's actually not. There's some pretty interesting fights on here. We'll start with Jeff, who is in 4th place. He goes with a parlay with Gerald Meerschaert and Bilal Muhammad, which is an interesting one. Meerschaert minus 250, Bilal Muhammad plus 210. That comes back at plus 331. If Jeff hits this one, he'll actually finish the session in the plus, which would be quite the achievement, I think. Let's see. Have we heard from Greg yet? Still not yet. So I'll give you Greg's play, and then we'll get into ours. Greg comes into this week 2nd place, down 0.38 units, 4-4. He takes a parlay with Justin Taffa inside the distance over Harry Hunsucker. The main event, which is Chris Daukaus and
Derek Lewis.
That will end inside the distance. And then the co-main, he has the Stephen Thompson, Bilal Muhammad over 1.5 rounds. All those seem fairly safe-ish. That parlay will pay minus 105, so we'll get back 0.95 units if he gets the win, and he would overtake me if he does get the win. Let's see, Torres. Let's go to yours next. You're in 3rd place here. You've got an underdog parlay, man. 3 underdogs. Let's hear it.
Okay, so one, I did pick Bilal Muhammad against Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Reason I think I'm going with that, Muhammad, man. He's more on the grappling side. He's the decision type fighter, even though I'm be honest, he's boring to watch for me. But I think he's going to be boring enough to stop Stephen Wonderboy. I think we see a little bit of a repeat what Burns did to Wonderboy. But I think Wonderboy will try to clean up some of that. But it'll be competitive. But I think Bilal Muhammad tried to do that same game plan. Next, I had Lewis over Daukaus. I'm not going to say I'm a little bit on the edge of that. But I am going to take Lewis. I feel like in the span of 5 rounds, I think Lewis can get one. I don't feel like Daukaus is that same threat as Cyril Gane was to Lewis, in my opinion. So I think Lewis can get one in, and once he get that shot in, I think he potentially get the finish. So, and Lewis is getting better overall. So as long as he can keep that pace and cardio, hopefully we can hope for that shot. And the other one I had, who was the other?
Darren Elkins.
Oh, Darren Elkins, yes, against Gosh.
Let's see. Elkins is against Cub Swanson.
Cub Swanson, yes. See, Cub
Two
Swanson
long
is
ones
tough.
here.
I mean, he's a tough son gun, man. I just saw a stat earlier today. I mean, he beat both of the guys that was in the main event of UFC 269, both Poirier and Oliveira. He's a tough son gun, but Elkins is on the rise. And I do like a lot of what I'm seeing out of Elkins. And I think he gets the big one. I think he gets that big win and get his next as his steps go on in his career. So give me Elkins.
If you take this three-way part, and I don't hate this honestly, I actually do kind of like Wonder Boy here, but Derek Lewis at plus 140 is a pretty good value. I think the back class of Derek Lewis, the guys he's fought compared to the guys, Chris Dawkins has been impressive. He's
Yes.
undefeated so far, but the level of competition that they're facing, I think, is night and day at this point. I will agree with you. Derek Lewis's conditioning does seem to have trended upwards as of late. And I don't think that Dawkins is the kind of guy that's just going to out technique him. He's going to kind of give him that brawl, that firefight that he wants. And so I actually do like that play. And I like the Darren Elkins play as well. If you hit all three of these underdogs, one unit pays back 16.48 units. And that is quite the nice payoff, but not quite as nice as Justin's payoff. I'll let him go last year. Myself, I have got I'm in the lead coming in 0.63 units is when I'm ahead. I'm going to take a parlay myself. Justin Taffa inside the distance. I think he gets Hunsucker out of there. I go Justin Taffa inside the distance parlayed with Matoush Gamrot and CDF, Carlos Diego Fajea, over 1.5 rounds. I believe that we'll probably get all 3 rounds there, but we'll go 1.5 just in case. That pays plus 114. So I'll get back 1.14 units on that one if I am victorious. Just calculated enough to stay ahead of Greg Hopkins if we both win. Justin comes into this thing down 3.27 units. But if he hits his parlay, he'll actually be the winner of it all. It's a long one. It's a long stretch here. Justin, I'll let you run through yours. You have a four-way all inside the distance parlay, of which I actually like 2 of the 4. Go ahead.
Yeah, so it's a violence parlay, I guess you could say.
Okay.
So I'm gonna take Tafa, Barsalis, Lemos, and Lewis. Tafa, most of you guys have already said you like Tafa inside the distance, at least a couple of you. Barsalis has got 10 finishes in his career, so I like him. He's a big favorite, so playing him straight up is kind of hard to win. So I like him inside the distance there. Lemos has got only gone to decision one time, and or only won by decision one time. She has like 9-10 finishes, and only one defeat. And then Derek Lewis, obviously the most knockouts in heavyweight history. So I think all those are possible finishes. So I figured to end us off, let's just go for a wild one. Take those 4.
Those 4 parlayed together comes back at plus 19.87 units. You need finishes in all of them. I think you get there on Lewis. I think you get there on Tafa. I think you may get there on Barcelos. Lemos is the one that I worry about because Angela Hill is very durable, if anything. I think that fight could end up, Hill may beat her actually, but that's the one that I worry about. But hey, you ain't going to get plus 1987 for free, so you got to take some risk there. I like it. All right, guys. Moving on here, we've got let's see, our segment 3 coming up here. Once again, you can bet on these fights at Action 24/7. Use that Aries promo code, and you can get a 100% match bonus, which up to $800 on your initial deposit. Promo code Aries. You can bet on the fights, UFC. You can bet on Aries when it comes around. Some good shit. All right, segment 3, guys, and then we'll bring on Adam Silvey here right after that. We have our, as promised last week, an early look at the amateur card for Aries 3. It goes down January 7th from the world famous Cotton Eye Joe. We talked about the pro card last week. If you missed that episode, go back, check it out. We give some early takes on the pro card. Headliner on this one, we got to mention it every week because it's so awesome. 170 professional title on the line. David Ruthless Robbins, Trevor Peake. Somebody's always got to go. Somebody's probably getting finished. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be violent. And, man, this one's one that just can't can't talk enough about. So the amateurs, though, we got to give them some shine, man. They're on the undercard here. They're definitely going to be looking to put on a show, get everybody kind of warmed up for that big main event. We'll run down the amateur card here, guys. I'll send it to each of you guys for a little cluster, and you can give me what stands out, early takes on these fights. We'll start off with Justin here. 3 bouts. We'll start off with, we got Brevin Sullivan coming back from Agogi. He's looking to move to 3-0, taking on the debuting Seth Gregory out of Black Dragon in Charleston. His teammate Michael Robinson debuted in Nashville, so I had an opportunity to meet him. Seth, from what I can gather, did wrestle maybe at Bradley Central, maybe Bradley County. I probably am like really pissing people off, like confusing those two. But
Brad.
I'm pretty sure that he wrestled in high school at the very least. But he's stepping in there deep with Brevin Sullivan on this first fight. Brevin looking to go to 3-0, self-proclaimed greatest striker in all of amateur mixed martial arts in the United States of America. And he's going to be looking to put on a show at the Joe. This will be Brevin's first fight at the Joe since started doing MMA. He may have fought at the Joe as a youngster one time. We've also got Muay Thai action. This one's going to be really good. We've got Kerry Reid taking on Harrison Raymond at 155. Harrison Raymond, we saw debut on the last show from Shield Systems. Looked very good, had a really nice crowd there. Very technical young buck. And he's going to be taking on Kerry Reid out of Spencer Fisher's gym, Glory MMA, over in Sylvia, North Carolina. So this will be the first time that we've had the pleasure of hosting that gym. And so we look forward to see what they bring to the table, man. It looks like, when pictures Kerry's put together, I think this is going to be a good scrap. And then Jacob Adams takes on Roger Hickman in our third fight here for Justin. Jacob Adams will be the first participant in quite some while to compete for it's Kate's BJJ in kickboxing. I don't know if it's still Team Chaos, maybe kind of fighting out of there, but I always knew him as Team Chaos, Josh Cates guys. Jacob Adams, a young buck, making his debut against Roger Hickman, an independent out of Huntsville, Alabama, who's 0-1. He does trains, I think, cross trains with the Rocket City guys some, but I don't know that he's quite repping them here. Looks to be well put together, though. Justin, any of these things stand out to you as we get ready to roll into January 7th?
Yeah, man, definitely looking forward to seeing Brevin back. He's been impressive in the couple fights that we've seen from him so far since he's become an adult. And chasing this amateur belt that he's probably going for. Seth Gregory, hopefully he comes in there ready to go. Hopefully he likes to stand up and trade. That's what Brevin will be glad to do with him. It should be a fun fight. The Muay Thai fight looks good. That Harrison Raymond, we just saw him not long ago, and he looked phenomenal out of Shield Systems. Got a guy coming out of Glory MMA. So I don't know much about him, but hopefully that'll turn out to be a good one. And then, like you said, somebody coming out of Josh Cates. It's been a while, so looking forward to having them back and representing Knoxville.
Since Greg has more or less dishes tonight, I'll take his segment here myself. We were supposed to have Stephen Kent versus Dylan Val, which Stephen Kent out of United Karate Studios down in Dalton. But his opponent, Dylan Val, had to pull out today with a torn labrum out of Juggernaut Boxing. So working on getting him as a replacement opponent. We will have a replacement opponent. Got 2 guys kind of on the hook right now from Middle Tennessee. One of those guys will step in. We've got a 125-pound Muay Thai fight that'll be a lot of fun. I think Matt Shields out of Barnyard MMA up in Florence, Kentucky, takes on Luis Alonso. And we saw Luis Alonso in Nashville on the short end of his fight. But, man, it was all action, little flyweight Muay Thai fight. Man, those guys really
didn't stop.
Excited to see those guys come back and fight again. And then we go to the exact opposite end of the spectrum with a heavyweight Muay Thai fight. Ian Workman, also out of Barnyard MMA, takes on another Josh Cates pupil in the debuting Johnny Hutchinson. And rounding out this segment, MMA 125 pounds, we see Kobe Ford drop to 125 for the first time out of Agogi in Chattanooga. He'll take on Oliver Thomas, the third representative from Barnyard MMA. It'll be the first time we've had Barnyard MMA down here, but they're coached by a guy that we know, Daniel Kilburn, who used to be with Juggernaut Boxing. It's kind of a 6 degrees of separation, but they'll be coached up well. I expect them to be decent strikers. Oliver Thomas comes in at 0-4, but all of his 4 fights have been as an independent. I believe. So this will be his first fight. Kind of get trained up properly, and so he'll be a good test, I think, for Kobe Ford in his first drop down to 125, which should be interesting to see because Kobe's made. No, don't get me wrong. Kobe's made the weight that he signed up to do every time, but it hasn't been without a little bit of trepidation at the last minute. So dropping that full weight class down, be interested to see how Kobe Ford handles it coming out of Christmas, especially. So Torres, last segment here in this fight card here. We got 3 more to go over. We got Muay Thai action. Carson Heidel takes on DeAndre Hill at 145. 2 debuts. Not a lot to go by here. Carson Heidel out of Resolute Martial Arts in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. This will be their first time putting a fighter out there. Formerly National Martial Arts, Dustin Koppel, I think, sold it to Cody Jordan in his partner. And so they changed the name, from my knowledge, to Resolute Martial Arts. So this will be their first fighter. Excited to see what they bring to the table against DeAndre Hill out of the UFC gym in Murfreesboro. Another debut. I don't know what to expect. So, these guys will lead off the card. It'll be a lot of fun. We got the guy that we're going to talk to here shortly, here in just a couple minutes. Well, speak of the devil. Look who we've got. Greg Hopkins. Fashionably late, Greg Hopkins joins us.
Ain't nothing but the devil.
With the show almost over, Greg Hopkins chimes in here. Greg, we actually just went over your segment here, so we're talking to Torres about this final leg of Aries 3's amateur card. Our guest coming up in a second, Adam Silvey, returns to the cage. He'll be fighting against Jay Flores. Adam out of Wolves Den Martial Arts, Madisonville, Tennessee. Of course, he's the head honcho there.
Right.
The leader of the pack, if you will. He's 2-0 coming in to take on Jay Flores, independent fighter out of Ooltewah. We saw Jay make his debut at Aries 1 down in Chattanooga. Didn't come on the right side of that one, but he was fighting a really tall, long, athletic Anton Brown in that fight. So we'll give him a pass on that one to see how he does here against Adam. And then rounding out your segment here, Torres, this is a fun one here. 145 pounds, Dustin Garrett returns off of his win over Trip Hallman as he takes on Joseph Hickman out of Shield Systems, who we've seen kickbox several times, and he's looked good, but this will be his first MMA fight. And, there's one thing about, the guys that take the Muay Thai fights early, it's good to get that experience and it not count on your record. But anymore, you can't really get away with having all that Muay Thai experience and then jumping into MMA and fighting. And guys don't want to. They still realize you've got that experience, and so getting other debuts to fight you is a little tougher. So he's having to jump into the deeper end of the pool here, Torres, with a Dustin Garrett in his first MMA fight.
Yeah, man, Dustin Garrett got 9 fights on his belt, I believe, and that's not an easy way to start off a MMA career. But Joseph Hickman, no better guy to have to do that. Joseph Hickman is a really good striker, man. You see his Muay Thai bouts, man. Dustin Garrett to me is really scrappy and he's gritty. So it'll be interesting to see how long Dustin will stay on the feet with Joseph. But when Dustin get guys to the ground, man, he usually finishes them. So that'll be fun to watch and see how Joseph Hickman's ground game is ready up to par. And then you have the other one, as we about to get ready to interview him. You got Flores versus I'm going blank.
Adam Silvey.
That's right. Adam Silvey. So yeah, that'll be fun to watch. Obviously I've seen Adam Silvey last fight. Did a little back kick, and I think the guy food came up in the fight. So it'll be interesting to see how he go against Flores. Yes, I remember Flores against Anton Brown. Anton was really athletic, throwing all. That's a big guy spinning their head kicks and heel kicks and all that type of stuff. So, that's probably a lot for a guy dealing with a debut, but it gets no easier. Get a chance to go against Adam Silvey in the next fight. So it'll be interesting to see how Flores responds and come back. But those will be some interesting fights, man. I'm excited for a lot of those amateur fights. It's going to be really interesting. Like you say, a lot of good amateur fights to get ready to set up a big time pro card. And you got Pat Crumpton on there. You got obviously the main event. So you have a lot of. This is a really good card to start the year off. I'm excited. So I can't wait. I'm actually really excited. So I cannot wait for this card.
Yeah, a lot of debuts here, but it's always good to get that new blood in here and see who the next contenders are going to be. So I think it's going to be a great atmosphere. You can get your tickets at fightertix.com. You can catch the pay-per-view at spectationsports.com. And with that, we'll jump into our interview segment, and I'll keep Greg on the line here for this. I'll let Justin and Torres go ahead and be on their way. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for sitting in with us. We will see you guys next week. And we'll go over this final UFC card of the year, see who comes out on top. Later, gentlemen.
Yeah.
All right, Gregory. It's just you and I until I bring in our guest here for our final segment of the evening. And of course, and then after we let Adam go, we'll recap. We'll go over your picks for the UFC this week.
My locks.
So with that, let's bring in our guest, our final segment of the show, Mr. Adam Silvey in the house. Adam, what is going on, my man?
I just got done working out. Thought I'd hop in, say hi.
Yeah, man, we appreciate you joining us. Of course, your first time. So before we get into too much, I'm going to let you give our viewers a little bit of your background and just for people that are seeing you for the first time or going to see you for the first time. It's always kind of cool to see what these guys are about here outside of the cage. So give our viewers a little quick spiel on just how you got into martial arts, how you got into MMA, any kind of background, and what's kind of led us to this point.
Well, I started martial arts about 2008 after my mom died. It was kind of like my outlet because I had really went the other way. I'll be honest with you, I was an alcoholic. So once I got into this, it was just kind of like my light out. And, my wife and kids, they were like, find something, my son jumped into it with me. So he kind of branched out and started, doing sports, and I just fell in love with martial arts. And since then I'm a 4th degree black belt in Hapkido. I've been working on jiu-jitsu. I'm 3rd degree in Taekwondo. I mean, I've been studying martial arts so long, it's like a part of my life. And about 3 years ago, I had the opportunity to open up my own school. And that was given to me by one of my students' parents. They just handed me keys and said, first month's free, do with what you want. And since then, we've been able to just expand. I've always had an interest in MMA. And one of my students was just like, I want to fight. I'm like, well, there ain't nothing stopping us now. So it was CJ Talent. Y'all remember him, his first fight. He fought against Chad Finnerty.
Yeah.
And came out with the win. And then I had Zeke Shaw. He came out and he told me, if I win my first fight, you have to fight. So I was like, okay. So once that happened, I fought Robert Davis for the first time. Real good guy. We became really good friends. And from then on, I was just the Willie Barnett fight, class act kid, and unfortunately, yeah, he did puke all over the ring. I had to turn around because I am a sympathy puker and I wasn't about to do it. So, and, I've had a few jiu-jitsu matches up in the other area, and I was kind of, ready to get this on with somebody else. But, politics, I get it.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Obviously, there's another fight that we were hoping to see. I think a lot of people really wanted to see that made a whole lot of sense. Unfortunately, that didn't iron out or didn't pan out the way everybody were hoping it would. But hey, we move onward and upward, man. And you've got Jay Flores up next. Let's talk about this one, man. Not a whole lot to go off of. He's a young buck. Made his debut just a couple months ago at the first Aries show, which you've made it to. I got to give a shout out to Adam. Adam is one of our top supporters, man. Like Adam is about some Aries shit, which I love. You were there for that first showdown in Chattanooga. Your take first off, just like on that show, that was a lot of fun. That was our first outing, and I thought it went well. And then what could you take away, I guess, off of your opponent here?
Well, the biggest thing I took off from him is he doesn't care to stand up. Like, he's right there, right in front of you. And like you said, I don't really have a whole lot to go off of, but what I do have to go off of, I've been kind of working as much as I can to get, where I know I need to be. He seems like he's a very dedicated kid. And unfortunately, the one thing he's got over me is youth. So, I mean, I'm the old dog coming in, but I got that dad strength. I don't think he's ready for that.
No doubt, no doubt. Greg, my man, you've been there for most of Adam's fights thus far. What you got from him, man?
What's up, Adam? Yeah,
I've actually called a few of Adam fights, and I enjoy watching him fight because one thing that you do bring to the cage is violence, and you got to know, like, when you were doing your combat jiu-jitsu and you moved to MMA, we slowly seen the progress in your game, and you're 2-0 now, and you're coming up against Jay Flores. Where do you see Jay Flores' weakest points in his game? Where are you going to capitalize on this game? Where do you see this fight going? How do you see it maybe ending, maybe going to a decision?
Oh, no. I'm going to knock his ass out. I mean, that's just plain and
point-
simple. I mean, just point blank, I'm going to knock his ass out either with a kick or with, on the ground. Just doesn't matter. I'm going to do my best to knock him out because he was a high school wrestler. I mean, I've done my research. I mean, I know what I know about him, and he has a few, I don't want to say quirks, but he has some very telegraphed things that you can capitalize on. And no, go ahead.
No, you're good, man. I'm listening to you. When I've got to spar with you, I guess it was a year back, man, you got to stand a little bit, and I got to exchange with you.
It wasn't pleasurable.
But it was great, man. It was good. I want to do it again sometime. But I just remember knowing what was coming and seeing just that power. And I'm wondering, do you have that over him? Is that going to do you feel overconfident right now? Do you feel leveled out? Okay. I know you did
absolutely not. I take everything that I do. I'm fighting myself. So I don't care what they've got. I mean, like I said, when I fought Willie, he was 6'3". I mean, he came in at like 213 or 214 or something like that. I mean, I'm a short guy. I mean, I take that with, I know this. I'm right there with you. I mean, and I know this kid is he's not going to take it lightly. He didn't take the other guy lightly, but he never backed down. So, I mean, all props, respect to him. But when I get in there, it's me and him. If he grabs a hold of me and I see something different than what I was planning for, I got a game plan for that too. So if he wants to do it, I mean, I want to bang. I've not had one guy. I mean, like both fights. I mean, God love Robert. I love him to death. But it was, I wanted to get, I wanted to go. So I mean, and, if I'm going to do it, I want to do it. I'm old. I mean, it's like.
I mean, I love what I'm hearing, and I agree with you on the older aspect, because everybody's getting older in the game. That's been around for a while now, and you are a veteran of it. You've been around the mixed martial arts aspect. Mm-hmm. You've given a lot of great points, a lot of good reasons, a lot of keys in here on why you're doing what you're doing with the MMA and practicing your art here at Aries and displaying it on this platform right here. And I've heard a lot of good things, but I want to know the one specific reason. I heard, my condolences to your mother, when your mother passed away. Then you said your son was into the MMA, and that got you going. Now, and then Zeke said if he wins his first fight, what's the actual why, the actual one thing that you can think of that fuels that fire, that motivates you, to get you going and get you up every morning and says, this is why I'm doing it.
Because everybody said I couldn't.
There you go.
I mean, that's plain and simple. Everybody said I couldn't. They said I'd never own my own school. They said I'd never have fighters. I mean, they said I'd never have anything. And that's my fuel. I like to check those off my list. So
I love it, man. That's what I wanted to hear. Tim, you got anything else for him, bro? That's all I wanted to ask this man right here. I can't wait to see you guys. Go. If you haven't made your pay-per-view arrangements, sign them up. Go see Adam fight. If you can't go see him, you can get your tickets at fightertix.com. Y'all, Adam, man, let him know, bro. Y'all come see this cat, dude. He told you his why. He spilled his heart out to you. A lot of people said he couldn't do it. Look at him now. He's doing it. So come see him. Come support him right here.
No doubt, man. I love it, especially and Adam said it himself. He's not a spring chicken. He's a little bit older than some of these guys that are out here doing it, but he's out here still showing a lot of danger, man. He's a powerful guy. He's got some very good technique in his kicks, and guys feel him, when they land. So I'm excited for it. Now, if I'm not mistaken, before one last thing, Adam, if I notice this, you said this could be your last one. Is that right? Is that for sure? Is there a reason that this is going to be the last one, or you just is it you come into a point where this is it takes a little too much time away from other things to be able to prepare properly?
I mean, in all honesty, I mean, I've got so much on my plate. I've got my schools continuing to grow. I got some of the best, kids, adults, everything that's been supporting me. And I hate taking away from them, for this. But honestly, they've been like a big driving force for me too, aside from my wife, kids, just everybody's been so positive about this. But the biggest thing is like I said, like I told you, I'm getting older and, the body don't heal like it used to. But there may be, I want to say this is my last one, but you got that little bite. It always catches you at the right point whenever Tim sends you a message and says, hey, I got a guy over here if you want to fight him. And then you're sitting here, you think back, and then I have to walk in there and talk to my wife, and she's all like, really? You said one more? And I was like, yeah, but that one more could be a little bit more. And,
right.
We all knew the one fight that I wanted more than anything.
Is that a fight that down the road, if it presents itself again, that may entice you?
Absolutely. If I could get in there with him and knock his ass out, I swear I'd be happy to. All respect to him.
I just thought about what you guys are talking about. It just dawned on me right now who we're talking about. We won't say his name, but
no.
Fuck, I want on that same card. That would be that's a fight I want to be on.
That's the one I wanted because I have so much respect for him. And if I lose, I mean, like, I respect Jay Flores. I am not taking nothing away from him. Like, anybody that steps in the ring with anybody, utmost respect to everybody. I mean, you won't hear me say a bad thing about anybody that steps in that ring. I don't care if I hate you. Now, that guy, he's got the same record I do right now. That was the whole purpose of this. It's like, we're two old guys. We're in damn good shape. Let's beat the hell out of each other. And I was so psyched. And if his name ever comes up, I don't care where I'm at. I don't care if I'm 60 years old. I'm going to jump up in that ring and we're going to bang with canes. I don't care. So, I mean,
I love it, man. Before we let you go, man, one more thing. I'm going to start asking everybody this as we get closer to this. Trevor Peek, David Robbins main event. This is one I know you're going to get back out from the dressing room and get your seat out in the crowd. Who's your pick?
Oh God, you had to put that one on me. In all honesty, I'm going to have to go with Trevor. And It's just, I respect David Robbins, what he's done, where he's come back from, and everything else like that. But I've seen Trevor Peeks fight, and as soon as they let that cage door closes, it's like a damn pit bull's let loose. So I'm really looking forward to this one. I've been telling everybody about it. So they're like, okay, let's do this.
You're like, don't leave after my fight.
Oh, absolutely not. I told him, like, y'all stay until the very end because, one, no disrespect, I'm going to be over having a few watching the fights. And I can tell you that's going to be one that I'm going to be watching real close, and we're all going to be going crazy because I guarantee you nobody is getting a decision in that fight.
No, I think that's safe to say. Before we let you go, man, we'll let you give some shout outs where they're due. Any kind of friends, family, training partner, sponsors you want to get some love to, shout them out here and let us also know where we can follow your social media.
All right. I'd like to give a shout out to my wife and kids for continually supporting me, even though they don't like me doing this. And I give a shout out to all my students at Wolves Den because I'm telling you, you will not get a bigger group of people that just push you regardless if, they don't care if I lose or whatever. I know they're right behind me. And, I'd like to give a shout out to my work cohorts. I'm actually bringing in one of my bosses. He's going to be in my corner. So, he's been looking forward to this. And, I honestly can't be more blessed with any of them. And when you see us come out, you just better get ready for a show, man.
Pick your school, man. Where can we find out more information about Wolves Den?
Just hit us up at Wolves Den Martial Arts on Facebook. Same thing on Instagram. We're in Madisonville. Do classes Monday, Tuesdays, Thursdays. Hell, we'll do classes whenever. I don't care who wants to. They want to come out and bang, we'll go ahead and bang. You just let me know ahead of time. And we'll make special cases for everybody.
Once again, Adam Silvey getting ready to throw down one more time, January 7th at the world famous Cotton Eye Joe. It's Aries 3. Get your tickets at fightertix.com. Select Adam from the drop-down menu so he gets the credit. And then, of course, if you can't be there live, you can catch pay-per-view, spectationsports.com. Adam, thanks so much for the time, my man. We'll see you here in just a few more weeks.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas to you. I hope you have a great holiday.
Merry Christmas. Oh, yeah. Get ready because it's my birthday. I'm going to bring you a birthday ass whipping.
Oh, even better. Birthday shot.
When's your birthday? When is your birthday?
January 2nd is my birthday, so 5 days later I get to throw down.
Nice.
All right.
So the birthday party's at the show.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Does. All right, Adam. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Greg. Your thoughts on our conversation with Mr. Adam Silvey? Always a pleasure. He is definitely an inspiration to these guys that, like I said, a little longer in the tooth. You still get in there, still has some fun in that cage and fuck a motherfucker up.
Yeah, I remember whenever I was getting recruited in college wrestling, and I know that like whenever I was looking for the college I wanted to go to, I didn't want to go to a school that had a old coach. No offense, but I wanted to have a coach that was like not young, but young enough that they could do the work that we're doing. And that way, whenever I'm slacking or I'm slugging, he's over there training too. I mean, I wanted to go to UTC and to wrestle under Terry Brands. I didn't work out. I ended up going to Carson Newman, but like the fact that he could do that, it kind of relates and makes me think. Adam's out there doing all the training and everything, and he's leading by example at that camp. So if you're able to do something like that, we got that at Agogi too, and we have these guys that still compete and stuff. And when you got these guys that still competing, it shows these youngsters, hey, you're capable. Get in there, do it, get it done. And like Zeke, Zeke said, if I step up into this, you got to do it. That's pretty cool. I like that a lot. I loved his why. Because they told me I can't do it. I wasn't expecting that to be. He spoke about his mother and his kid and all of his students. And his why is because they told me I couldn't do it. And he's doing it. He's here and he's doing it. And I couldn't be more happy for him. And we spoke about his, the opponent that was, but Flores ain't no joke, man. And we're talking about the wrestling, and I brought that up to Adam, and he just said it doesn't matter. I'm knocking the fuck out, plain and simple. So Flores, shots are fired. The deal, and he said no disrespect, but it's not personal, but it's completely personal, I believe. So I can't wait to see what Flores has to say about this, or maybe he'll just do his talking in the cage. We don't know.
Yeah, we'll find out here in just a few more weeks. Before we wrap up, man, we'll backtrack a little bit for you. I'll let you give your take on your failed parlay. We've already gone over everybody else's failed parlay. So everybody but Jeff Hobbs was able to was in the losers column. Jeff actually had a good week this week, but you were on 3 out of 4, man. You had the inside the distance on the heavyweights with Tuivasa Sakai. You were inside the distance on the main event. You had O'Malley, and Nunez killed us all.
Nunez, all right, very expensive learned lesson this weekend. Never fucking parlay a fucking minus 1,000, don't matter who it is, in any kind of 5, 4, 3, 10, 12 leg parlay you had, because I'm telling you, I had 2s, 3s. I had Oliveira and Nunez. I had this one and 3, and I had them all round robin all the way down, and I had them all like single betted. Why, dude? Like her little minus 1,000.
It doesn't even add that much.
It added like plus 0.20, like something that didn't add shit to my stuff. And I'm sitting there looking like, I went to Cherokee. I went up and I was watching. They don't order the fights, the pay-per-views and stuff. And I somehow accidentally ordered. I was pretty shitty, because I was sitting there like, because once O'Malley knocked out Pava, I was like, bro, like the stars are aligning tonight right now. Amanda Nunez is going to go out there and just absolutely eat a bag of shit. And that's what she did. Oh, man, dude. So, yeah, don't ever do that again. We will never, ever take a minus 1,000 on this show. I won't. I will never take a minus 1,000 again. I won't do it. And I'll never add it to a parlay. If I do, y'all catch me on it and tell me, remember when you said that, Greg? Okay, so, yeah. Overall, but I did go to Cherokee, and while I was like filling in my little things and talking to the lady up there, I told her I wanted the over 1.5 for the Pina and Nunez fight. I wanted the over 1.5, but she wrote in Bubble Pina, and I actually had a $30 bet on Pina and won $187 that paid out $217. Hey, I got that. I was cool with that. It kind of leveled out a lot of the parlays that I did lose. So I didn't have a bad weekend because of a stupid, degenerate mistake that I made. Never doing that again, ever. Did good on the other ones, though, oh, yeah, women's MMA. You never have a guarantee. You never have a guarantee. This weekend. Lemma's, she's fighting Hill. Minus 350.
That was actually one of Justin's plays on his parlay, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Hill might just beat her anyway. But we'll move on to your parlay for this week. As I mentioned to the other guys, starting January, we're going to reset, so everybody will be back to zero. $50 cash prize. $50 cash prize every month. Every month. So every at the first of each month, we'll reset the scores. But over the course of the month, you have the opportunity to accumulate as many units as you can but still only one unit plays, and parlays will be maxed at 2 legs. 2-leg parlays. And the person with the most units at the end of the month will win $50. The other caveat to this is that just like in the fight game, if you miss weight, then you have to forfeit a portion of your purse. If you miss an episode, you can still tell your picks and they'll count. But if you win, you forfeit 20% of your winnings, and the people that were on the show will split it evenly.
Sweet.
So that is the caveat to next season. And for this final play of the week, you and I have gone the most conservative. I'll tell you, Greg. Everybody else has got some crazy shit. They've got like plus 1,600 parlays, plus 1,900 parlays. If Justin or Torres hit theirs, they'll bypass us and they'll win.
Oh yeah, it's over with.
Sure. Yeah, but you have got a parlay. Justin Taffa parlayed with the main event inside the distance on the Derek Lewis and Chris Daukaus fight, and then the co-main event, Stephen Thompson, Bilal Muhammad over 1.5. Parlayed all together, minus 105. Your unit will win you 0.95 units. And what's your reasoning on these, man? Give the listeners a reason why they need to tail this parlay.
So main event, Derek Lewis, Chris Daukaus, both guys knockout. They're gonna knock. I mean, if Derek Lewis, right? 5 rounds. Derek Lewis ain't in no shape for 5 rounds. You know, he said last time he talked about him fighting a 5-round fight, he said, Joe Rogan, I need to sit my black ass down. That's what I need to do right now. And then, I mean, when do you see Derek Lewis hitting? I mean, and he's plus money too here. You know, there's so many landmines in this whole card. But Chris Daukaus is, you know, if he can touch you, he can knock you out. If Derek Lewis touches you, he's going to knock you out. So I don't see Chris Daukaus running this whole fight, and I don't see Derek Lewis running this whole fight. They're going to connect, and when they do, somebody's going out eventually. 5 rounds, 25 minutes, they're not going to stand. They're not going to be pushed up against the wall. Who else do we have on there? We had the Stephen Thompson.
Yeah, over 1.5 on Thompson and
Bilal Muhammad. And see that one right there, Bilal Muhammad is a live dog at plus 210. You know, I don't know if you agree with me, but I mean, he's been coming up the ranks. Stephen Thompson is a straight stand-up guy. And if Muhammad's able to, you know, close the distance, he can take him down. If he's able to take him down, I don't know that he can submit him. So I think we have a good little roll on the ground. If not, I don't think he knocks out Bilal Muhammad, at least not early within the first, 1.5 rounds. So we'll take the over 2.5 right there. The alternative to the 2.5. So we're going to take the 1.5.
And then the final leg was Justin Taffa over our buddy Harry Hunsucker.
All right. So I know Harry Hunsucker is a tough cat, and I worry a little bit about this, and because I know that Harry Hunsucker has power, and Justin Taffa, you know, I guess you'd say his UFC resume, they're going to heavyweight, and Justin Taffa's resume does not top tier of what Harry Hunsucker has been fighting, I guess what you would say in the UFC. So I'd safe to say that this is a lower level fight in the UFC at the moment. With that being said, like you said, heavyweight's going to heavyweight. Harry Hunsucker is a live dog here. With that being said, he's been knocked out in the UFC now, and Taffa has too, if I'm not mistaken. But I can see that, I can just see Justin Taffa come pulling this one out. So he's a minus 325 favorite for a reason. But like you said, heavyweights are going to heavyweight, and that one right there I worry about. If I can go ahead and tell you, there's a couple more landmines. I don't know what their picks were, but I mean Darren Elkins out there plus 135 right now. You have Rafael Asunako. He's a live dog. I know you might not agree with me against Ricky Simone, but I don't know. Angela Hill, I mean, the women's MMA, she's live. Bilal Muhammad at plus 210, he's live. Derek Lewis, he's live. If you could round robin 5 or 6 of these dogs and 2 or 3 of them hit, I think you come out some plus money. Maybe I could be wrong, but I mean,
Torres's play is 3 underdogs. It plays plus 1648, and it's Bilal Muhammad, Derek Lewis, and Darren Elkins. And those are all 3, I could see.
I mentioned all 3 of those.
Certainly for all 3 of those. That plays plus 1648, which is pretty nice. That's a pretty nice little comeback on a 3-fight parlay. Myself, I'll tell you what I had. I had Justin Toffa inside the distance parlayed with the Matoush Gamrot and Carlos Diego Ferreira over 1.5, and I get back plus 114. So
Nice.
I planned it to where if we both win, I'll just barely still be ahead of you.
I'll tell that. But I mean, Darren Elkins, man, he's a killer. And he's going against Cub Swanson. I'm not saying Cub Swanson's seasoned or anything, but you're getting plus money on Darren Elkins. I mean, he's a degenerate, man. He comes through. That guy's crazy. I love him.
I just kind of trust his durability a little more right now.
Yep. I'm wondering. You got, even Macy. How do you pronounce her name? Chiasson?
Macy Chasen.
Chase, I came in, and Rochelle Pennington, man, that one right there.
I like the underdog there a little bit just because Macy's like really big.
She is, and it's WMMA, man, women's MMA.
Yeah, a lot of landmines. Tread lightly here on this final card of the year. There's a few other ones down there. Jordan Levitt. I don't trust Jordan Levitt at this point to be laying minus 220 against about anybody.
I'm telling you, is this the last card of the year, or do we have one more?
It's the final card of the year, and it's actually not too bad. I thought that I was telling the guys earlier. I thought it would be weaker with it being right before Christmas, but there's some decent names on here. I think there'll be some fun fights, and we'll recap it next week, guys. One more time, if you haven't already, hit that like button, hit the subscribe notification bell. That way you get notified every time we put content up there. Action 24/7, our official sponsor here. Use the promo code Aries. Get double your deposit up to $800 on your initial deposit. You can bet on the UFC with us this weekend. You can bet on the Aries fights in January. So we encourage you to do that. Make sure you use the promo code Aries. And I guess that's going to do it for this week, Greg. We're a nice, concise show, and we'll be back next week to recap these fights, and maybe we'll talk to some more guys for Aries 1. We'll get ready to announce a lot of fights for Aries 2. We got 3 big title fights on the horizon for Aries 4, the February show. That is, we'll have the 205.
The second one of the year.
That's right, second of the year, exactly.
Yeah.
205 title coming up on that one, 170 title coming up on that one, as well as our first Muay Thai title as well. So fun. We'll be talking about that next week. Greg, appreciate you jumping in here at the end, and we will we'll talk to everybody next week. We appreciate you sitting in with us for another edition of the 0 Hour. I'm Tim Lloyd, and we are out.
Nah.